This episode of Neo Reality Collective is brought to you by The Everyday Fan. Check out their content and a passionate group of content creators getting together to create content for the growing community of pop culture, fan base, fandoms, and especially sports such as football, basketball, baseball, professional wrestling, and MMA fantasy sport. Control your content and share your story around the world today.
The Neo Reality Entertainment brand expands with a relaunch of the Neo Reality Collective Pop Culture News Talk. Your host, Eric Brown, gives his insights and thoughts in the ever-expanding news world of comic books, professional wrestling, gaming, TV, and movies. Be sure to donate to the brand and keep up to date with additional content on YouTube channels such as Neo Reality Entertainment, NRE The Wrestleverse, and NRE Pop Culture Omniversa.
Welcome everyone to Neo Reality Collective. I am your host, Eric Brown of Neo Reality Entertainment. And we're back again, everybody. And Star Wars Celebration happened. Yep. Star Wars Celebration happened. And wow, I'm just going to say it. I want to say something, but I know I'll be in trouble for that. Mostly the grounds of me not caring about the Star Wars universe as much as I used to. Mainly because everything in Star Wars' sequel trilogy, from my perspective at least, is a depressing, nihilistic outlook on everything, and nothing really matters. So, thanks Kathleen Kennedy and Disney Corporation, I don't care. But enough about my personal opinions on Star Wars and what it's become. We're going to have a bunch of stuff to talk about. So we're having Star Wars Ahsoka's trailer finally came out, which will be a follow-up on Star Wars Rebels featuring Sabine, Hera, Chopper. They even brought Zeb in from The Mandalorian appearing. And it will follow up on the whole event that happened in The Mandalorian's little appearance in the Book of Boba Fett episode, because even though the show is supposed to be about Boba Fett, we decided to focus on oh god damn it. Oh god, I still do not know what was going through their heads at the time. But yeah. Enough about that, but so yeah. Star Wars Ahsoka. I saw the trailer, and they decided to throw in the tidbit of heir to the Empire, because making us remember the olden days when things were not as infuriating. So that happened. So, and I'll get to the heir to the Empire stuff in a little bit, but like, they showcased the poster, Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano. And there's a scene where I kept thinking, are they alluding to the event coming, the World Between Worlds? Like, you brought that in and you haven't used it since, outside of a couple of references. Yeah, we still don't know that. We'll probably see, we're seeing Ezra Miller again, and not Ezra Miller, for fuck's sake, that guy. Ezra Bridger again. Remember him? I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. Like, look, I'm not a fan of Rebels. Like, it really just got good for me during Season 2 when Ahsoka showed up. Then it got okay with Thrawn. And then it got really good at the last half of Season 4, which is say a lot. But, yeah. Meanwhile, they also unveiled Indiana Jones in the Dial of Destiny trailer, showcasing the final adventure of Indiana Jones. So that was awesome. Never watched the film, so sue me for that. Yeah. Also, during this whole event, they announced that there would be other Star Wars projects going on with the High Republic. The Return of the Jedi is coming back in theaters and for the 40th anniversary celebration, with a big commemorative poster we made. So remind you of the actual ending to the Star Wars universe. They also announced Tales of the Jedi Season 2, so that's awesome. Maybe they'll focus on other characters. Dark Horse Comics announced there would be a Phase 3 trailer, a Phase 3 for the High Republic Adventures comic series. I mean, I would have just kept everything the same numbering, but that's just my personal opinion. They also confirmed Bad Batch will be back for Season 3 in 2024, despite the fact they killed off Tech in Season 2. Star Wars Celebration also will be heading into Japan in 2025. I'm sure that's not a sign of any ominous warnings I should bring up, but we're trying not to have existential crises every single time. But one of the big highlights was the big new Marvel event comic. Yeah, even in the Star Wars universe, we must have event comics. So they've been teasing this thing for a while now. I brought it up even, and they announced that there would be some event comic that had the tagline "First It Comes for Metal." The announcement was revealed to be Dark Droids, a horror event comic. And featuring Charles Soule, Alyssa Wong, Ethan Sachs, Cameron Scott, and Mark Gurningham, as well as editor-in-chief C.B. Silbieski and senior creative executive of Lucasfilm, Matt Martin, as they discuss their various Star Wars series. And basically, there's a new threat called the Scourge that corrupts the droids, cyborgs, everything in between, spreading chaos throughout the galaxy. Ajax Sigma, who first appeared in last year's Star Wars Revelation #1, will play a role in the saga, though his true intentions remain unknown, and will spread throughout the Star Wars titles as this event happens. Okay, so funny thing about this, so this is actually taking place between episodes 5 and 6. Like, Luke still is in his growth phase to become the Luke we see in Return of the Jedi. I just have a question. It's actually kind of an important one, but why is this never talked about? You would think they would mention, oh, by the way, there was a crisis where droids were gone crazy and just start killing everybody in a massive infection spreading that corrupts called the Scourge. Like, this is kind of a thing that happens in Legends, where they have these big events happening between the films and no one ever brings it up. Like, it just gets forgotten about instantaneously. I'm like, they even went ahead and had to re-edit some of the Marvel stuff when the first Marvel canon happened, and they still made it canon, but they had to label it called the Forgotten War because there was so much going on at the time they just forgot about this kind of period event, which says a lot. But, like, that's kind of the thing. Like, you have this event happening, and you're just thinking to yourself, so this thing is controlling the droids. Battle droids, protocol droids, separatist droids are showing up in this event. Nostalgia, I'm pretty sure. Oh, look, Chopper's been infected by the droids, or at least that's something that looks like Chopper. Oh, and Luke Skywalker in the cover art is next to R2-D2, who may or may not become corrupted. And I'm just like, you know, for an event, how many years passed between episodes 5 and 6? I assumed it was relatively, probably a 1-year period at best, but maybe it was longer. I don't know. Yeah, see, I don't know, and it concerns me to some disturbed points. But yeah, it's been this recurring motif. I kind of just no longer care about Star Wars like I used to, but it just leaves me questioning things that I'm trying to wonder, how did this never get brought up in like any of the post trilogy books they made in the Disney canon. But there was one more announcement they made. They finally decided, after all these years, they're going back to bringing back Star Wars movies. Now, the first Star Wars movie announced James Mangold's first movie will feature the Dawn of the Jedi. And So yeah, Dawn of the Jedi will be the first movie. And they also introduced the timeline, which means we're also going to get the Old Republic eventually. So awesome there. We get to see Revan again. That in the game seems to be hopefully on track at least a little bit. But Dave Filoni also announced he will be focusing on a movie that focuses on the New Republic and close out all the interconnected stories told through The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and a Disney Plus series. So expect many characters to probably die because we hate you. Except probably Grogu. Also, there is another director making a film, but I can't pronounce the name, and I already hate it, just from sheer practice alone. Look, I'm not trying to say the sequel trilogies are objectively bad, it's subjective, and you have a right to like those movies. I know I have friends online that that love the sequel trilogy. I just have an innate hatred for it for some reason. But this third movie, will be set 15 years after the rise of Skywalker, or the rise of nihilism, as I like to see it as. That will feature Rey building the new Jedi Order, because God knows I wanted to see more adventures of Rey Palpatine when her identity gets blown and the galaxy reverts back to their fear state. Because that's how it works now in Star Wars. You could do literally anything in the galaxy and you will be hated because of your last name. Ain't that right, Leia, who got hated by the galaxy and ostracized from the New Republic government when her friend decided to backstab her and reveal that, oh yeah, she's the daughter of Darth Vader. Bail Organa's videotape said so. And we all know that pissed me off. So yeah, as you can tell, I am not in the mood to deal with this. So, yeah, fun all around. Just fun all around. Meanwhile, Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy is not in active development, though they still want to do it, but Kathleen Kennedy revealed he's been super busy. Ewan McGregor wants to do another season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I do not care. Mainly because it felt like there were so many things that made me question, wondering what the hell. But, yeah. So, take of that what you all will about that. I just have very different viewpoints on things. Probably not healthy ones, but they're my opinions. So, yeah, all that happened, and meanwhile, let's move on to more positive stuff that doesn't irate me and makes me go into a massive tangent. So, Mark Waid has been having kind of a big rebirth for his DC Universe works ever since coming back to DC after all these years. So after he came back, he started doing some one-shots and whatnot, but then he came back and did Superman and Batman World's Finest, which has just been a grand, awesome story. And even keeps up the events of what happened in the future event Kingdom Come that was ultimately retconned as an alternate timeline, and it became its own separate Earth, and comic books are weird. Well, Mark Waid is once again busy because not only is he working on Batman Superman World's Finest, he's also working with Dan Moore as well, the artist for that series, to work on Shazam miniseries to bring back to go back and save stuff. Man, Dan Moore, I feel sorry for you, man. You're working on 2 comics at once with your beautiful artwork. Probably because ever since he finished Once in Future, he had a lot on the table. But he's working on a new series with Brian Hitch, who's also busy doing, Ultimate Invasion. He took a break from Venom, but he's still doing cover art for many companies, so take it that in what you will. But, yeah. Mark Waid is working on a new new DC story called Superman, The Last Days of Lex Luthor, which is a DC Black Label comic, so non-canon for the most part. Superman's biggest foe is dying, and the Man of Steel will travel across worlds, dimensions, and time to find the cure for him. But why? Because Superman's a hero, and even though he doesn't like Lex's ways, he does think Lex could be a good person, and that's how the relationship dynamic of Superman and Lex is so unique, because you could imagine them being friends, but their ideological differences and Luthor's arrogance is what stops it from happening. So, yeah. According to Mark Waid, for the first time, Superman's found the tide of public opinion, embarking on a mission that billions of people outright oppose. But he has his reasons, partly because of who he is, but partly because of a debt he feels he owes. Our readers, the Superman birthright, might already guess what that perceived debt is. So, yeah, this is canon to his birthright story. Together, Superman and Lex are racing the clock in search of a cure as they travel the breadth of the super universe, from Atlantis to Kandor to the Phantom Zone, all spectacularly reimagined by Brian Hitch. So it will be available in July, the first of 3 issues, and it will be released every other month. Cool. And he's working on a spin-off book continuing off of the events of its World Finest series, which will feature a modern retelling of the Titans called World's Finest Teen Titans. So, yeah. It's pretty insane, isn't it? I am looking forward to that, honestly, and I hope to see you all on that. But it's pretty crazy when you think about it, and I'm just stunned at how this all works, because World's Finest Teen Titans, when I heard this, I was like, oh, more Donna Troy content. Yay. So this is what the promotional material said. World's Finest Teen Titans is spinning out of the pages of the runaway hit Superman Batman World's Finest, and features a modern retelling of the early adventures of the original Teen Titans, led by Robin the Boy Wonder, and a new super team has burst onto the scene. Meet the Teen Titans. And Mark Waid wrote, I've had so much fun writing the Teen Titans and Batman Superman World's Finest that DC asked for more, and I couldn't be happier. Taking on our cue from the World's Finest book, the series set in the not-too-distant past when Robin led the team, including Bumblebee and Mal Duncan, as they answered calls for help from the kids worldwide, and dealt with their celebrity status. The real fun for this world is Emma, I can't pronounce the last name, and me is revealing surprising secrets about who each Titan really is. Even long-time readers will be stunned by these untold revelations. My God. So that's awesome. Also, Joseph Staten has quit. He is leaving Microsoft entirely. The company confirmed to IGN. In this message, Microsoft did not say where Staten was heading next, not the reason he was leaving for Microsoft, saying, we're grateful for Joseph's contributions to the Halo franchise and Xbox as a whole. We wish him all the best in his new adventure. And Joseph Staten said, hey folks, I am indeed leaving Microsoft. I'll have more info soon, but for now, I'd just like to thank you all my Xbox colleagues for their understanding and support as I embark on a new adventure. He is currently gone and going ahead and working at Netflix now. So he's going to make a triple IP for them. Meanwhile, Jack Black has come out and said that he speaking of Halo, I mentioned this. What happens now? They had a DLC plan, but then the budget cuts happened, and everyone was pissed after that. So, we don't know. And now that he's gone, the 10-year plan they had going for them is kind of thrown out the window, probably. Jack Black, however, wants to see a Red Dead Redemption movie in the wake of the HBO Last of Us series. Let's just hope they don't go overly detailed with it like they did with the sequel game. And this is what he said that caught my interest. The Last of Us was fantastic, and what's crazy is how loyal it is to the original source material. It's basically all from the game with just a couple tweaks. It's going to win all the awards. They used the video game almost like a storyboard, and I was like, whoa, this looks just the same. Okay, I'm going to give my thought on that. I have not watched the HBO Last of Us series. Partially because of that concern. In fact, I heard a lot of the similar criticism. It's a great show. The actors are great for the characters. But they said they played it too safe because it was very, 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 very similar to the original Last of Us game. They didn't try anything new, I heard. They added some extra scenes at best and provided extra character content, but like in terms of switching things up and changing the pile up and not really innovating with the story and lore they have with it. In fact, they even said Season 2 will more than likely be the sequel game instead of being an in-between, instead of focusing on Joel and Ellie as they venture post-Last of Us, and instead they're just moving on to Last of Us Part 2, so naturally everyone's gonna get pissed off at that, and then we'll be dealing with that horrendous event that happened all over again. So, yeah, thank God I didn't watch it. Also, Sony is still being pissed off about Activision-Blizzard deal with Microsoft, and the CMA, Competitions and Markets Authority, reduced concern over it, calling it surprising, unprecedented, and irrational. Okay. So... this has kind of been a thing that now has the governments of the US kind of being interested in, like, Sony, why are you so obsessed over this deal? Like, all the federal agents around the world have been saying this is actually a good thing, and how the small indie developers are saying this is a good thing. And I'm just that guy that's like, why is this a good thing? Like, they explained it, but Sony's just like, no, you need to be angry. It's a goddamn travesty. So, no answer? No answer? Okay. Also, Resident Evil 4, which I must stress is a remake of the original game from over a decade or two ago, has microtransactions. Now, as part of a free patch update, after they released Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries mode. Really? We're really doing this again? Modern Warfare Remaster. We're gonna put microtransactions in the multiplayer because the old game doesn't even do that. Oh my god. It's annoying, isn't it? It's so fucking annoying. So, okay, you know what? I'll be right back. We're gonna take a brief break before I lose my mind over the fact that Capcom, even when they're having a streak, decides, let's screw it up. Okay, we'll be back after these messages and ad break. Stay tuned for more. We'll be right back. Peace. We're back. Let's finish this whole thing off. And remember how Warner Bros. Discovery went ahead and started canceling a whole bunch of stuff even when they were finished with that stuff, and they had to cite cost cutting and debt removal. Okay, like, we get all that, but you could have canceled more meager projects, or, you know, things that weren't already completed and you just decided to tax write it off because it was easier. Well, remember Batgirl? I'm sure we all remember what happened with Batgirl. We were all somewhat hyped for it, and, you know, people were at least anticipating, hoping it was at least okay, and we would all make our decisions and give our opinions on it. And then WBD canceled it and decided to mock the people by showing them a funeral screening of sorts before they locked it away in the vault that will never be seen by either the creators of the film or anyone else. Well, apparently Senator Elizabeth Warren, Representative Joaquin Castro, Representative David, I can't pronounce that last name, and Representative Pramila Jayapal all wrote a letter to the Attorney General Merrick Garland and Department of Justice Antitrust Chief Jonathan Duncanter about the merger, And, well, they called for the merger to be investigated, citing stuff like Batgirl and the hollowing out of the iconic American studio, and, yeah, and the removal of content, and, yeah. So, David Zaslav, you got a big storm a-coming. I will not be sorry for you. Meanwhile, Indiana Jones Star Wars director James Mangold has announced that he is also now the writer for the Swamp Thing movie for the DCU. Yay! I would have probably just, got the original Swamp Thing team together and make it easier for that, since they have experience now and they can do what worked and what didn't. He was already rumored to have been doing this and whatnot. I also would have gotten Guillermo del Toro just so we could get a Justice League Dark spilled up, but that's a different subject altogether. Yeah, he won't give much away, but he did say, the truth is I'm writing both Swamp Thing and Star Wars right now. Well, who knows what's going to happen, what's going to blossom first or second. I'm acknowledging I'm doing Swamp Thing. There's your script. It's not a rumor, it's happening. So, congrats to James Mangold, and I look forward to seeing what he brings to the table. Meanwhile, remember Stranger Things? It's having this soon-to-be ending series. Well, remember how they announced they were going to be spin-offs and whatnot? Well, they finally announced an animated series with executive producer Eric Robles and Mark. The Duffer Brothers will serve as executive producers through Upside Down Pictures, with contributions from Sean Levy and Dan Cohen through 21 Labs. And how they're saying this anime series is a homage to Saturday morning cartoons, so cool. Saying we've always dreamed about doing an animated Stranger Things in the vein of Saturday morning cartoons that we grew up loving, and to see this dream realized has been absolutely thrilling. We couldn't be more blown away by Eric Robles and his team. What they've come up with, the scripts and the artwork are incredible. We can't wait to share more with you. The adventure continues. Oh boy, I'm hoping everything works out. Let's hope the final season works out altogether. So, HBO Max and Discovery Plus. They had this big press conference going on for them regarding the future of the HBO Max platform, and they showcased a whole bunch of new stuff, such as the first look at the in-production of the Penguin that takes place in the Batman universe. That was cool. It shows the crew and everything, but honestly, if you're able to edit those out, you could have really convinced me this was a full-blown trailer getting finished. Yeah, and how he's going to be basically the new Kingpin of Gotham in the wake of Falcone's death at the hands of the Riddler. So, I'm excited for that. Not only that, we're also getting a Conjuring series on the HBO Max product, along with begrudgingly the Harry Potter TV series, officially announced for a 10-year series that will adapt all of the material from the books. So, yeah, J.K. Rowling gets to get away with more horrible things, probably. But, yeah, I'm not even going to go and comment more about that. Also revealed during this whole thing, God damn it, I can't believe I'm going to say this. HBO Max is being relaunched because Warner Bros. Discovery hates you. So, yeah, HBO Max is being relaunched. What is this new venture? Is it a merging of HBO Max and Discovery Plus? Like, they'll still continue a service of Discovery Plus, but this relaunch will be known simply as Max. What? Max. So apparently, the reason for dropping the HBO name, because brand recognition is a joke to David Zaslav. Reportedly, they're gonna have we'll have more kids content on there, and apparently one of the reasons is that parents were swayed away, were intimidated by the name, and were scared off from it. David, if you even so much as watch this podcast and see my criticism of you, can I get some citations on that? Like, I can believe the debt stuff. I can believe the budget thing. You want to tighten it up on that. Can I get some citation on this? I kind of feel like this needs some heavy citation to make me realize that parents are just this fucking stupid to think that having the name HBO is just that intimidating. This is like if Disney went ahead and decided, oh, we're not called Disney Plus anymore, we're just calling it Plus. Like, you couldn't even come up with a name that makes it more sense. Like, Max just sounds so generic. Like, you could have called this WBD Max or WBD Plus. Anything that doesn't come off like it's just a generic streaming platform just called Max because the people were lazy in charge. So, yeah. As you can tell, I'm not a fan of this, but they also revealed they had a plan for this, such as HBO, they will have Max Ad Lite for $9.99, Ad Free for $15.99, and Ultimate Ad Free for $19.99. God damn it. Like, I already have enough issues with the lawmakers trying to say, hey, you may have adopted potentially anti-competitive practices that reduce consumer choice and harm workers affected labor markets due to citing all the cancellation projects, which were also in post-production. Like Snowpiercer, remember that? Like, I never watched the series, so I have no emotional attachment from this, but I'm speaking from a pure, what about everyone else who, like, the final season is ready to go, ready to launch, and then they just say, nope, we're canceling that, checkmate, and they just said, fuck it, and they're not even going to shop it around to another network to just let them air the final season, which I must stress is the last season of the show, and now no one will get the payoff, and everyone's going to be miserable and pissed off about this, and wanting WBD's head on a pike. Yeah, I see the problem here. But moving on, Cyberpunk 2077 has released a new patch, 1.6, with a new ray tracing mode rolling out on PC, and it has been reportedly pretty damn powerful and very power consuming. Yeah, damn. Called Ray Tracing Overdrive. And it's supposed to support the RTX 40 series. And yeah. So, messed up. Also, speaking of messed up, remember how Redfall was being hyped up, and you know they were, and it was going to be the big exclusive coming to Xbox. Well, they capped it at 30 frames per second at launch with a 60 FPS mode coming in later. You want my opinion on this? How about this? You just delay the game. Like it's already gonna face a dangerous trek being sandwiched between two big games coming out. But maybe you should delay it and do the 60 FPS and have a complete package instead of just say, oh, it will be patched in later. That's just kind of a BS thing to do. Come on. No? Okay. Disappointing. And once more, Bethesda's releasing this, so that should have been, I should have suspected this was going to happen. Like, this was too good to be true. Meanwhile, Deadpool 3 continues to announce that we get the debut of Colossus and Vanessa in the MCU, at least, because oh man. So we'll see the return of Patrick Stewart. We saw the return of Patrick Stewart as Professor X in the Multiverse of Madness. Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine. And now we get Colossus and Vanessa. Well, mostly Colossus, but still. Yeah, Colossus now joins the MCU, probably on a different universe, but still the MCU, or someone to call it the Marvel Multiverse, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, MCM. I'm pretty sure they can't do that, but still. Also, to compound things with WBD and their newly desired pissing people off, they have announced their star-studded cast for Creature Commandos. David Harbour, Frank Grillo, Sean Gunn, and more. Frank Grillo will star Rick Flag. David Harbour will be Eric Frankenstein. Indira Varma will be the bride. Princess and a whole bunch of other cast members whose names I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to try. Meanwhile, Sean Gunn will be voicing both Weasel and G.I. Robot. Yeah, Weasel's still alive. I was shocked as you. I was interested to wondering, like, why is he alive? Like, I know he survived at the end of the Suicide Squad movie, but, like, how does he, how do I say this delicately? How does he factor into this team if he's just a genetically mutated weasel? I don't know. Also, if you know who Grillo is, you already met Crossbones, who was tragically killed off in Marvel's Captain America Civil War, or as I call it, Avengers 2.5. Meanwhile, EA continues their original projects initiative by EA Originals by announcing a first-person magic shooter called Immortals of, I can't pronounce that name, and is set to release on July 20th, 2023 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via the EA app, Steam, and the Epic Games Store. They will play in the shoes of Jack as he joins the Order of Immortals and becomes part of mankind's endless war over magic. Solely single player, and will be played like a first-person shooter but with magic abilities instead of guns, similar to Ghostwire Tokyo that was released last year. A trailer was also released in the subsequent announcement. Naturally set in a fantasy universe, promises a visceral, cinematic, story-driven campaign with fast-paced action and spell-based combat that defies the FPS conventions. The game is being created by new AAA developer Ascendant Studios, which was co-founded by creator director of the original Dead Space and multiple Call of Duty campaigns, Brett Robbins, who is also the CEO and game director. I'm incredibly excited to finally show the world Immortals of Avram. It's been a 5-year journey for us as Ascendants, and I'm so proud of the team and their commitment to making something great. We set out to create a cinematic, thrilling shooter set in a new fantasy world with fast and fluid combat with an epic story, and I can't wait for everyone to play it. The general manager of EA Partners, Jeff Goldman, said, Ascendant has hooked us when we saw how they had woven magic so seamlessly through fast-paced FPS combat set against an action-packed story. We just wanted to keep reading. Brett built an incredibly talented team whose unrelenting passion for creating original AAA games, deep lore, and telling imaginative stories is on full display. We set out to and whatnot. The lengthy plot synopsis was also released, saying how, having grown up powerless and destitute, Jack is what's known as an unforeseen, someone who was unexpectedly manifests magical abilities later in life. With his newfound potential, Jack is recruited by General Kraken, I'm pretty sure I butchered that, to join the Order of Immortals, and is reluctantly thrust into mankind's endless war for control of magic. With powerful magic reelers and legion of soldiers on both sides of the Everwar, Jack and his elite Order of Immortals must uncover the mysteries of Avern's troubled past if there's any hope for saving its future. So that's pretty cool, but we'll see. Also, as Comixology continues to go ahead and blow itself up every chance it gets, they have announced the former executives of Comixology spearhead a new digital comics publisher called Disterly. Pronounced Disterly, I think. I probably mispronounced it, but I tried. With the twin goals creating more equitable platform for creators and bringing an element of collectability to digital comics. With the founding creators including Scott Snyder, Tula Lori, James Tynion IV, Junko Mismo, Ram V, Makira, I can't pronounce that name, Jolly Jones, Jock, Becky Colin, and Brian Azzarello, Stephanie Phillips, and a whole bunch of other writers and artists. Former DC and Vertigo editor Will Dennis has been tapped as the founding editor of the group. The publisher has an advisory board comprised of investors and is aiming for a novel approach to digital comics publishing. New issues will be only sold for a limited time, at which point owners can sell and trade their books on digital marketplace. called a stub hub for comics. Creators will receive a portion of the resale price. Books will also be sold in print form, and other physical and digital collectibles will be released both online and in comic shops. Similar to publishers like Image Comics, creators retain the full rights of their work on the platform. However, the new publisher is going to take a step further, offering creators an equity stake in the company. Additionally, the company is setting aside 3% of its equity over the first 3 years to be distributed among founding creators. So, yeah, this sounds pretty damn cool. Let's hope the venture works out. Also, Microsoft is experimenting with a Windows handheld mode for Steam Deck. My god. This will make the Steam Deck even more accessible. Oh god, everyone is screwed now. I'm excited, let's do it. Also, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, originally set for 2022, and then later to 2023, has now been set for February 2nd, 2024, to basically go ahead and make quality assurances and whatnot, and to polish rather than overhaul the core gameplay. So, a good game should be delayed. If you want to have this game work, it should probably be delayed as best it can and work things out to the bitter end, instead of just rushing it, because we all know what Cyberpunk did. And last but not least, the horror of Night Terrors continues, as they have announced the series of issues to come out for the event, such as, they had announced a whole bunch of events in the first oversized special, Night Terrors First Blood. It would also feature more things like, Night Terrors 2 will hit just stands on July 25th. Wesley Dodds, the Sandman, teams up with Batman and Deadman to uncover one of his oldest cases, which ended into the day he died. Cool. Also, we'll get a Night Terrors Joker, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Black Adam, Dr. Destiny's also going to get involved in this, Punchline. Oh man, that's kind of insane. Not only that, but the heroes are going to join in on the fun from the Nightmare Realm, which made me think, couldn't this just have been, the Dark Multiverse Strikes Back? Nah, probably not going to work out. Batman, because everything needs to have a Batman thing. Wonder Woman's going to get her own series. Superman, Action Comics, Power Girl, Dan Waters, Nightwing #1, the Titans, Teen Titans, and all that. Man, this sounds like an insane event. I'm glad we're being less about the cosmic space events, cosmic level multiversal events. Instead, we're focusing more on basically Earth level threats, instead of just having the universe will never be the same again, and the universe will be changed to the chaos that is to come. My god. Because, let's be real, the cosmic storytelling they've been doing over the last decade kind of got sick and boring. Like, they were still good stories, it's just that we were so done with it that we wanted something different, and now with Lazarus Planet and the After Dark Crisis and the Night Terrors, this seems more focusing just on Earth wars going on instead of just having cosmic events occur, because everything needs to be a cosmic event. And it seems like we're having, and I wouldn't be surprised, based on how the Nightmare Realm exists, I won't be surprised if we see the Sandman and the Endless show up, especially Daniel, since he did show up in the canonical Dark Knight's Metal. So, Dream of the Endless might play a role. I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll see where that goes. And this was your host, Eric Brown of Neo Reality Collective Pop Culture News and Reviews Talk. I'll see y'all again next time. Thank you, EDF, for sponsoring this, for sponsoring today's video. I look forward to seeing you all again. Peace and take care, and have a good day, everybody. Peace, and stay tuned for this last ad break and outro.
Be sure to donate to the brand and keep up to date with additional content on YouTube channels such as Neo Reality Entertainment, NRE The Wrestleverse, and NRE Pop Culture Omniversa.